Hi, good morning. Can you hear me? Because I'm not sure if I can hear myself. Okay. Good morning. I'm Sheelika Ravishankar from Team Indus. Thank you, Kritika, and the team at GHCI for having me speak here about chasing moonshots. All of us know that technology for the future and all the innovation is what's going to take us into the future. But it's only breakthrough technology, it's revolutionary technology that's going to take us there. The difference between where we are today and where we want to be is only imagination. It's usually the imagination of one person, a group of people that take us there, which is often considered unfathomable, crazy, unrealistic, and stubborn. Today I'm going to talk to you about a team that is certainly unreasonable, based out of Bangalore. And I think time will tell us whether we're being unrealistic or not. I'm going to talk to you about chasing dreams. And I hope there are some of you here chasing moonshots. If not today, I hope you're going to chase your moonshot further sometime later in your life. And the lessons we've learned chasing our moonshots, I hope to some extent they help you. And you're able to do that little thing that you do while chasing your moonshot, which will change the world forever as we see it. There are many events that change the world forever. I'm sure all of you all have something that you've experienced that changed the world for you as you were growing up. These are a couple of instances that were personal to me. So these are not the only things that changed the world. But after these things, oh, my screen isn't changing. Sorry, we're going to take a minute. While we take a minute, Team Indus is an aerospace company that's building, and this is also falling, and building a mission to the moon. But believe me, it's far easier to go to the moon than get technology that works. And far easier to go to the moon than get roads on Bangalore that work. So my slide still hasn't come. I'll click? No, it's, okay. All right. This was my imagination slide. I already spoke about that. I'm talking about events that have changed our lives forever. And these are few that I like, which I think personally have changed my life. The falling of the Berlin Wall was about humans coming together standing against divisive forces to say we can do something together. Smartphones have changed the way we live. You're doing things on your smartphone today which you could never, ever do before. Solar Impulse was the audacity and self-belief of one man who said, I will fly a solar-powered plane across the world and save the world from the pollution that we live in. And this one gives me goose flesh. Does anyone know what this is? Show of hands because I can't hear you. This is when SpaceX successfully re-landed the first booster. Is this, of course there is craziness, so that's why we have a Tesla that's flying somewhere in the universe with a spaceman there telling the aliens that there are human beings as part of this galaxy. Was SpaceX landing back on Earth a world-changing event? Maybe not. But it's definitely a step towards that and changing the world the way we live it. Dr. Stephen Hawking gave this planet only 50 years more to survive. And I think it's time we started taking that a little more seriously. So what happens? Does somebody wake up one morning and say, okay, today I'm going to change the world. I'm going to go chase a moonshot and create something that will be different? No, there's always some spark. Your spark could be something which somebody you meet, somebody says something to you, an opportunity that's presented to you, which sparks something in your subconscious. For us, it was the Google Lunar Xprize. This was a competition that was set up in 2007 to revolutionize the way the space industry worked today, which is a monopoly of governments and space agencies. It required privately funded teams to build and land a spacecraft on the moon. And we're not talking about designs, we're not talking about video games, which many people thought we were doing originally, but a real spacecraft on the moon. How many countries have done that? Show of hands of numbers 1, 2, 3, 7. How many countries have landed on the moon? Only Kritika knows only 3 countries have landed on the moon. America and the USSR in the 60s and 70s, and they have not been back since then. China landed in 2013, and I'm hoping everyone followed Chandrayaan-2, where India attempted to land there very recently. We were one of 33 companies that attempted this competition, the only ones from India, and the ones who were amongst the top to win this competition. So what does it take? There are basically 3 artifacts that is there in any space exploration mission. There's a rover, which is on my right. The rover is your mobility platform. It will explore the lunar surface after we land on the moon. The spacecraft, which is in the center of the slide, is the spacecraft that takes you and does the journey from Earth to moon. These 2 artifacts are the ones we worked on. These are the ones we've built. The third is a rocket launcher. That's a very expensive car ride that you take to help you break out of Earth's gravity. So that is something that we would buy. So a rocket launcher would leave us at this point of the Earth, and then our spacecraft would deploy from that rocket launcher. That's about a 15-20 minute launch that we do before we can deploy. And then we begin a 14-day journey between Earth and Moon, which is what our spacecraft would do. That 14-day journey could be anything between 14 and 21, depending on your window of launch. After you land on the Moon, then you could deploy the rover, which will explore the lunar surface. So, first learning that I want to share. If you have a crazy idea, if you want to do something as weird as go to the moon, and if you have a crazy idea that you're attempting to do, this is going to happen. People are going to call you foolish. People are going to say, when there is so many other problems to solve on Earth, why do you want to do something like space? Be ready to stand your ground and be ridiculed out of your ideas. So how do you grow this? First thing you do is to gather a set of equally crazy people who are going to take this journey with you. I met Team Indus in 2013. They just moved to Bangalore. It was a set of 4 or 5 people at that time. And I went across saying, okay, let me see what they're doing. And I expected to see some people like this. Certainly, I expected to see the maverick showmanship of this, and what I definitely expected was the deep pockets of him. But what it was a bunch of 23-year-olds with our founder, Rahul Narayan, who were attempting and who had designed the blueprint to go to the moon. This is a photograph of them presenting to veteran scientists from ISRO their technology, which was contradictory or different than what ISRO had done about how they're going to get to the moon. We built this team from those 4 or 5 people to a team of 120 people. People who were drawn to this mission by the goal of making India proving to the world what India can do, proving to the world that technology from India will compete with the rest of the world and still stand on top. Remember, there were 33 teams in this competition, and we were amongst the top teams of that competition. This mission attracted people from all walks of life. Had anybody heard of Team Indus before here? That's a lot of people. But this mission attracted people from everywhere. We had folks who came in just to volunteer their time, folks who came in to contribute ₹500 towards the mission, folks who came with tens of crores towards the mission. We had dancers who created special dances which rocked to the music of our rover. We had musicians who've created anthems for us, children who created posters. People from all walks of life found a way, a mechanism through which they could come, join this mission, and be a part of taking India to the moon. But this is a capital-intensive industry. And like we were repeatedly told, people like us, poor, people like us not aligned to the government in some way, do not deserve to be in this mission. And after some time, we realized we could not raise the money for the rocket launcher. We'd built most of the technology that we had to build, but it's a 15-20-minute ride on that rocket launcher, and we did not have that money. So we went back to the organizers, to the Google Lunar Xprize folks, and said, I'm sorry, we're going to withdraw from this competition. The competition shut down prematurely because there was no other team out there that had this kind of technology, this kind of hardware that they had built. And that was the end of our story of going to the moon. So what do? You know that the journey is tough. And just when you think the journey cannot get any tougher, you'll face death. It's folklore amongst entrepreneurs that any organization faces at least 3 mortal deaths before they succeed. We just didn't expect them to come so close to each other, and we didn't expect to have more than 3 deaths coming our way. But if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're attempting to do something big, do remember that the journey is going to be extremely tough, and just when you think it can't get any worse, it'll get tougher. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you have to figure out a way to work around it. So we looked at it and said, our purpose. We were a team of 120 people who had spent anywhere between 5 to 8 years of their lives dedicated to this mission. And dedication in Team Indus, it means you're obsessive. You eat, drink, breathe, sleep Team Indus. You only make jokes about the moon. You don't talk to people who don't understand the moon. That's all you do. How do you tell these people we need a new purpose? How do you top a purpose which is making India the 4th country in the world to land on the moon? How do you top a purpose which says we as Indians would be the first private enterprise in the world to land on the moon? So we took a hard look at ourselves, hard look at our technology, hard look at the team we'd built, because we weren't ready to just fold up and go, because we didn't have a competition anymore. We'd built a lot of stuff. We'd worked, we have young engineers, we have retired ISRO scientists who work very closely with us, put in a lot of effort. And we said, let's look at repurpose. And when we looked at the space industry, we decided we need to do something which still stays true to our vision, still stays true to what we believe in. And that purpose could be, why not make space more accessible to people? Space is largely government monopolies. It's prohibitive in its costs. But what the space industry needs today is lower costs, it needs reliability, and it needs frequent access to space. If we're able to do that, we'd be able to unlock the potential and the economic growth that can come from space and space services. So we looked at, what does Uber, Ola, everyone knows the models of Uber, Ola, and Airbnbs. It's a shared consumption model. We build the infrastructure, and we get people to come in with the cost and the ability to pay to be able to share that, while staying true to the fact that we're still going to fly to the moon. We're still going to do what we have to do. At the same time, we're developing technologies and processes which will enable us to bring the cost down by an order of magnitude. I'm sure have all of you all been here for the last 3 days, seen a lot of talks? Most of the talks would be success stories, people overcoming adversity, people finding a way to then succeed, because the reason they're standing here is because they're a success and they can tell you how to succeed. We are not a success story. We're a work in progress story. The journey ahead is still very long, still very arduous. The journey ahead is still fraught with mortal death coming our way many a times. But if you have to do something that is, the goal is such, the goal is very challenging, the industry is very challenging. If you have to continue this path, we'll have to continue to stay work in progress. How do you do that? How do you pick yourself up each time that you falter, each time that you die, dust yourself, regroup an entire team of people, so they're also redusting themselves, and get them to relook and reposition themselves each time. And you do that with incredible amount of self-belief. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I've been laughed out of a room to say, you're crazy. Governments haven't done this. Big nation states haven't done this. Who are y'all to do this? How many times have we been told, okay, you're dead now. Please don't resurrect, because we don't need a Team Indus in India. But I think we do. I think if we have to build the Googles and the Microsofts in India, you need someone creating products out of here. You need someone chasing an unbelievably tough moonshot. And for that, you need a lot of self-belief. If any of you all are entrepreneurs, are going to attempt to be entrepreneurs, or even want to succeed at work, whatever work you do, This is the only thing that will hold you in good stead. Because otherwise, you're going to have people coming and saying, you're foolhardy, please shut down today. I hope that there are lots of you here who intend and want to chase a moonshot. I said we were work in progress, but and we have milestone successes, and one of the successes I'm most proud of is we have 8 to 9 startups that have been spawned out of Team Indus. We've created an environment which says, let's go change the world. We've created an ethos to say, take the tougher part, change the world, rather than making a quick buck. So if any of you don't have a moonshot that you have to chase today, the opportunity will come, and it comes on you. It came to me when I was much older. I don't want to tell you how old, but it came to me when I was much older, and when it knocked, I grabbed with it with both my hands. This world needs to change for the better, and somebody's got to do that, so please, do chase your moonshots. Thank you.
So inspirational to hear this story. We're going to take some questions. If any of you have any questions, put your hands up.
Wait. No, you'll have to wait.
Yes. We get the mic around.
Just a minute. Sure. I can hear now.
Yes.
Hi, ma'am. I got totally fascinated with your talk. It was quite impressive, and it doesn't matter whether success comes immediate or like at a later point in time. I'm just curious to know, like, when you said, right, moon accessible to all, so like, what does that thought mean?
So today, moon is accessed only by governments and big private enterprises. What we are building is we're building a huge infrastructure with a lot of payload capacity. So I'm not talking about tourism today. Tourism is the next step. But today you have to first build infrastructure. You have to first build accessibility. And we do a lot of outreach. I'll just come to that in a minute. We're building infrastructure at such a large scale that it brings the cost of sending something to the moon down from 2 million for a kg to 150,000 to a kg, which is a huge differential, which allows universities, planetary scientists, anybody who's interested in the moon to be able to gather that much money to be able to send something. We've done tremendous amount of outreach to bring space closer to people. Very few people had heard of Team Indus, but we had a bus, it's called the Moonshot Bus, that traversed all over India, taking space, taking the rover model of our spacecraft, antennas and everything to rural children all over India. It went around for 14 months and went and touched 65,000 children. We've allowed students who are interested in science to build experiments that they will test on the moon, and we're flying it free for them to the moon. So there are many ways you can bring space closer. It doesn't have to be somebody who's just interested in space. It could be just somebody who wants to come, be a part of it, musicians, singers, dancers, anybody who can come in.
Okay, thank you.
Is there another question?
Thank you for the session. I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, there, sorry.
There are two.
Yeah, while talking about the moon accessibility, you mentioned about the economic growth out of it, right? Could you please give us few examples for it?
So all the technologies you have today, so a lot of young people, I don't know how much you go to the kitchen, but anything that you have in your kitchen, right from your washing machine to your refrigerator to your microwave, where did those technologies come from? They all came from space exploration. All the high technology that you use on Earth today comes from space exploration, because what you have to do for space needs a much higher level of fidelity, much higher level of validity, and those are used on Earth for Earth usement. The other economic growth for Earth is, today, for instance, you have direct to home, you have Airtel, all of them on Earth. The requirement is to move all of this off Earth if we have to sustain our planet anymore. So it's taking the footprints of Earth, putting them up in space for as quickly as you can to sustain this Earth lots more. For space people, there is a whole infrastructure that has to be built between Earth and the Moon. So the whole ISS, and there's a whole infrastructure around that, where you'll have to build facilities and opportunities for people to go work and do things there. And that's the other thing that we've started to build out there. Okay. Somebody had a mic here.
Yes, one more.
Sorry.
I wanted to ask, see, space is far from us, right? And there would have been a reason why it is far and humans don't have access to it. So if you are going there, will the citizens be responsible? Like we have done a lot of destruction to the earth already, and we know we can see it now. So how will you ensure that we going there will not disrupt that ecosystem balance that we have?
So there are very strong laws with that. Every service provider, every launch, every country that you launch for has very specific rules that you have to adhere to. Is there extra space debris out there that we would create and other people create? Yes. And it's an awful synonym to use, but I do use it, is sometimes you have to break an egg to be able to make that omelette. So that first instance, there will be a lot more debris out there, but eventually we'll come to ways of working it better. There are lots of associations which are global associations, so moon associations, which draft policy, draft law that everybody is following.
They should follow, right?
It is by law. You have to follow. Yeah.
Is there any other question? We can probably take one more.
Hi. Since this is a very means for a privately funded organization, it's really difficult to handle the finances for it. And governments have so many resources, but I'm damn sure you might be facing a lot of,
Absolutely.
So how was that struggle? How did you convince those people in going to that? And was that unbelievable at one point of time when you started? No one would invest into it. How to convince them? How was it like?
So I'll just share an anecdote. The first time we went to raise money, and here we're talking about, any guesses how much could a moon mission cost? Anybody? Vague guesses.
Crores.
Crores for sure, but how many crores are we talking about? 1,000 crores?
Thousands.
Oh God.
that's
1,000 crores, people like me would, I'd be steamrolled. I wouldn't be able to come here. But for us in India, very frugal engineering, it would cost somewhere about 350 to 400 crores for us. And that's very little compared to what it costs the Indian government or it costs any other government of the world. And the first time we went to raise money, very, very early initial days of Team Indus, we were looking at 5 lakhs. Just money to eat and pay for parathas or whatever else you have to do at that time. And after 45 minutes of presenting to somebody, this is what we'll do and this is how we'll land, the guy says, good idea. Okay. When will this video come out? So nobody believed that we were doing a real mission. People thought we were building a video game. People thought we had, I don't know, a dream. But slowly there are a set of people. The people I put up here, some of their photographs, Nandan Nilekani, Pramod, I don't know if any of you all were here for Pramod's talk, have been one of our biggest supporters. Nandan has given us tens of crores of rupees. But we still fell short. And we will always fall short. So it is one of our biggest challenges in terms of technology. And it's a shame because in terms of technology, we are the only private people in the world that is as advanced as us, other than the big guys. So a Boeing or a Lockheed is in a different league, but small teams, we are the only ones who are as advanced as us, and now we have to find the money. But that remains our biggest challenge. So our death has all been money death, many, many times.
But still you are motivated and that feels great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was so inspirational. I don't know, I'm like falling short of words here. I'm going to request Nivedita to give a small token of appreciation for coming along here and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.